It's my testimonial about treating my sinus infections with some reduced breathing exercises that I saw from Arthur's YouTube channel and also on normalbreathing.com. Um, I had a blocked sinus, especially during the nighttime, for about 10 years. I had a lot of mouth breathing during that time, and then I learned the techniques, and then I saw that it started going away. And for the most part, I would say 98% it's gone unless there's some kind of allergy trigger. So that was just great. Sleeping at night and waking up in the morning, it's a world of a difference. How about for yourself, Arthur? What's your experience?
Yeah, Chris, yeah, actually, paradoxically, like 15 years ago, when I discovered Buteyko breathing technique, first, I also had serious problems with sinuses. It was kind of even from my very early childhood. I remember when I was like 5, 7, 9 years old. I spent even some time in hospitals having also not only sinus but also chest infections. But at other times when I was growing, for many years until I started like seriously doing sports, a lot of sports, I had often sinus infections, and sometimes even in winter time I can maybe miss a week or two due to serious sinus infections. Nose would be totally blocked, would take like maybe 2-3 weeks to recover. And but in 2001, the problem gets really awful. Like for winter time, it's like was complete disaster. I remember I would go running, and if it's little cold, little like windy, I would come back and would be like feeling totally miserable. My temperature would go to like up to 39 degrees. It's very high fever, temperature, sore throat, sinuses, nose would be totally blocked, sleep awful, up to 10-11 hours of very, very poor quality. So that was my situation in 2001. And then I discovered like this method of totally natural technique, how people can slow down their breathing. And on the way we measure body oxygen test results. So when I started this technique, I had only 10 seconds, about 8-10 seconds, very, very low number, like similar to people who have like in hospitals in critical care. And my sinus problems, frequent infections were very, very strong, very serious, very poor quality of sleep. So I started to do this breathing, reduced breathing exercises, similar to meditation in a way. Actually, top meditation exercises, if we like open very ancient Sanskrit texts, via breathing exercise of similar type. And when you slow down your breathing pattern, of course, mind becomes calmer. Sinuses starts to discharge naturally. I found it so common, like you do breathing session, whatever, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and nose starts to run, yellow-green mucus starts to come out itself. So you run to the washroom, clean your nose, and come back, continue breathing exercises. And I found that a very fast technique, very natural technique of treating sinus infections with this method. And within less than a week time, actually, my sinuses were virtually totally clear. So I would go exercise, would breathe 100% through the nose, would run later, like when I increase my body oxygen up to 40-50 seconds, can run with nearly any speed, like maximum speed, and still comfortably breathe through the nose. Was huge difference. Sleep was reduced gradually, like 10 hours I started with, like it was 8 hours, 7 hours, 6, and then 4 hours of sleep for many, many weeks, months, just by retraining the breathing pattern. Of course, sinuses would be clear completely. On the way, actually, once I got also commonly people who have sinus infections, I found it's the same effect in many of my students who had a lot of sinus problems when we start. Of course, problem sinuses will disappear, but later when they progress their breathing retraining, when they improve body oxygen, they experience nasal drip. So the nose actually starts to run, like water starts to run from the nose when we get, I think around 30-40 seconds, depends on the person, would be really strong nasal drip. And that at least Soviet doctors, when they tried to explain how it works, they suggested there is like a cleansing reaction on the tissue level. So the first reaction takes at the level of 20 seconds. And this is when large masses of green and yellow mucus starts to get discharged just by using breathing retraining exercises. So that's first step. And at later stage there is a second cleansing reaction which relates to sinuses, and it would be manifested in very strong nasal drip where literally like there is water running from your nose. It's not grit on yellow mucus, it's not a sign of infection, but it's still a cleansing reaction, so there are some certain changes. At this moment, I remember it was really good to use a garlic solution, like you can dissolve garlic. I have like a description on some pages of the website. And another way is, it's actually known now that sinuses are normally should be populated by similar lactobacillus type bacteria, which have like present in yogurt, kefir, and other similar fermented products. And when people have sinus problems for many, many years, it can be so that we actually can lose all these sinus bacteria. And what can be done in this stage, at this stage, apart from, again, like using diluted garlic juice, very diluted, of course, so that you don't burn your sinuses, but also to use small amount of live kefir or yogurt. And actually what you need to take a spoon and sniff tiny amount in your sinuses and keep it there, maybe to do it like just 2-3 times in a week. And later when your CP gets high, your sinuses would be present. Your good bacteria would be present in sinuses all the time, so there is no need to do this technique later. So that's my testimonial also like relates to very positive experience just by retraining your breathing pattern, like changing your body oxygen test results. It's possible to get rid of all sinus infections completely, but not only that, it's huge energy level, much better sleep, and many other benefits of breathing retraining.